morning and hello to everyone. This is Destiny Unplugged, the voice of our generation. I am your host, Ashley James, and guess what, y'all? It's a day for the ladies. Y'all wave and say hey. To my left, I have Courtney Middlebrook, and to my right, Miss Ayana McKinney. Today's topic, we'll be talking about music, a very broad topic, but we're talking about the substance of music, the lyrics, both secular and gospel. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick it off with Ayana, and I just want you to give me your general opinion of secular music today.
Well, if we're talking about hip hop, R&B, rap, and things, I honestly don't feel like there is much substance to it. Honestly, I don't really listen to it for that very reason. I mean, it may have a great beat or it may sound very, very good, but when I listen to the lyrics, it's just not good substance or not necessarily things I want to hear. Sometimes it's demeaning to women, or you have a lot of cussing. It encourages drugs or
Use,
alcohol,
selling, yeah.
clubbing, and all of those are things that I actually don't really like to partake in. So overall, it's okay, but is it the first thing that I listen to? Not really.
I think one thing that we, not really us, but sometimes parents get too wrapped up into some types of music or whatever, is the beat. And just because it has, a harder, deeper beat does not mean that all the time the lyrics are going to be, degrading. And I think they should look at that.
Well, I feel that just talking for us and our generation, oftentimes we do not care about what the lyrics are saying. We're worried about, does it make me dance? Does it make me bounce? Does it make me twerk? Hey. Or, what does it make me do? And oftentimes we lose sight of what we're feeding ourselves. And I don't mean physical food, but I'm talking about the things that you're feeding your mind, the images that you're giving yourself, and the words that are being put out for us that have constantly being shoved down our throats. We're saying, give me more, give me more, give me more, but there's no substance to it. There's no nourishment to it. It's not helping to make us smarter. It's not helping to make us wiser. It's talking about stuff that, and I mean, don't get me wrong. They got songs about the struggle. I'm with it. You got to do what you got to do. But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't know anything about drugs and stuff like that. And first of all, don't romanticize that life. Being strung off on something, cocaine, heroin, or you with somebody who's dealing those things, that doesn't make it a good life to me.
I do feel like it is overgeneralized and it's how can you say, like, just overemphasized in the sense that they make it seem like doing drugs or being out on the streets or all of that stuff, they make it seem like it's okay, and it's really not. But because it has a great beat to it, it makes it okay. And I just need for people to understand that, hey, you need to watch out what you're listening to and what you're feeding into yourselves, because what you're listening to, sometimes you emulate those same behaviors just because you hear it on a constant basis. And you wonder why you're always thinking about negative stuff, or you wonder why you're always sad or depressed or stuff. Chances are you need to check and see what you're actually feeding yourself.
And I agree with that. To hit the topic that you were just talking about, the checking into what you're feeding or putting into your body. Some things that we like sing and rap along to and stuff like that. Sometimes us being some of us being immature or whatever, and not, so much knowledgeable to certain things, we sing along to it and we don't know what we're singing. Sometimes it can have a hidden message behind it. You think you're saying this, but you're really saying this.
Right.
And I feel like, if we're going to participate in music and singing and stuff like that, we need to know what we're singing.
There was a song my niece actually introduced to me, and I did not know what it was. It was... let me see. It was that dun dun dun, but apparently I thought it was talking about moving your body, shaking your behind and stuff. And in all actuality, it was talking about drugs and the use of drugs. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did not get that. But that just goes to show that you kind of have to watch out, like you were saying, what you're listening to and what you're feeding yourself, because you honestly may not know what you're saying or what you're talking about. So,
you know what? That's why I tell people, Google is a wonderful tool. Before you lock onto something and be like, oh, I'm going to run with it. No, Google it. And don't get me wrong, is the internet always right? No, I agree with that. But still Google it. If there's a certain song that you like, figure out what the lyrics are. I mean, simple stuff, because, there's controversy about certain songs, and if you go by off of what other people say, you'll always be subjective to other people's choices and decisions about you. So go find out what it says for yourself and formulate your own opinion. Don't allow others to think for you. Don't allow others to make decisions for you, but have some input. It doesn't mean you can't agree, doesn't mean you can't disagree, but formulate your own opinion. Because when I think about certain songs, it's not even a song that has a negative message. There are songs that have no message at all. Like, they're not talking about nothing. And it's like, you wasted 3 minutes and 58 seconds of my life talking about nothing. I sat here and listened to this beat repeat itself for about 4 minutes that I cannot get back, and you said nothing to me.
I think people listen to it because it's just catchy. I mean, if it has a catchy beat, once again, you're going to sit there and listen to it regardless of if it has substance, no substance, or whether it's talking about anything or nothing at all. So, I mean, I think the beat definitely, or whatever it sounds like, definitely overrides what it's actually saying. And I feel like that mindset is kind of dangerous, or, it's not good for you. So,
what I think is dangerous is that, and Courtney, feel free to jump in anytime, of course, but what I feel is dangerous is that we praise and glorify the artists who, and I hate to say it, y'all, but who have no talent. They have a tight beat, but they have no talent. They can't sing, they can't really rap, but these are the ones that we're pushing to the forefront. These are the ones that we're saying, you the bomb and all this other stuff. But then you have other artists, and I'm talking about secular, we're going to get the gospel in a second, but we have other artists who actually have a message in their songs. Don't get me wrong, secular, of course, they're not saved, curse words, I understand. But when it comes to what they're saying, like, what are they saying in the song? We don't want to jump on that. We don't want to jump on artists who make us think. We don't want to jump on artists who actually provoke our mental process. We don't want to jump on artists who might actually have something to say, as opposed to, well, I don't want to be worried about that.
It just may be the culture that we're in. I think it's the culture that has been set up over time. I mean, I think it's been expressed that we need to listen to things that are not as, or I guess they're not as substance worthy. I think we need to listen to more of that. I guess that's what's been preached to us when we were growing up, or I guess that's what's been popular in school or whatever. So I guess we, as a culture, jumped on the bandwagon and started listening to things that had no substance, and just because everybody else was doing it. Once again, that kind of goes into the individuality. Are we making our own choices? Are we thinking for ourselves? And in the culture that we are in, I don't see no forefront leaders. I don't see people wanting to be different. Everybody wants to be the same. Everybody wants to dress the same. Everybody wants to listen to the same music because they're afraid to be different. Listening to music defines that. It defines your personality. And if you want to look at everybody else and say, oh, that's what they're listening to, I need to listen to that, instead of saying, oh, I don't really like that, I like this better. I mean, it's just the culture that's been set up from when we were little.
I feel like we're being told what to like, what to listen to, because if you listen to radio stations, what music is popular in that city, that's the only thing that they play. They only play what's popular. And of course you would say, well, of course, that's what makes sense. But there are those of us who want variety. There are those of us who, I'm not trying to be rude, Beehive, don't get me, but I'm tired of hearing Drunken Love. I'm tired of hearing it. And it's like, everybody ain't Drunken Love. I'm sorry. Everybody ain't with it. And I'm looking like, I have nothing against her. I will go on the record and say that she's an amazing artist. Absolutely. But that song, I'm like, y'all, Augusta, let it go. Let it be free. I'm just like, I don't understand. And it's like they put this stuff in our face, and it's like, you're supposed to listen to this because this is what you like. Yeah, it might be hot right now, but let time go on, allow things to change. I mean, I don't get it.
The reason why they keep playing it on the radios because people keep calling in and requesting it.
Right.
Once again, it's just, people want to like what everybody else likes. So yes, they're going to like what their friends like. So they're going to call in the things that they, I guess, perceive as the right thing to call in. So the reason why you hear that song quite frequently, you could change the channel and still hear the same song playing. You hear the same song playing. And how as annoying as that is, that's what happens. No, we're not going to get variety because people aren't asking for it.
Man. So then that makes me wonder, the mindset of our people. And I'm going to be honest. Yes, when I was starting out, when I was younger, I'm not gonna lie, I used to listen to ratchet music, what we would classify as ratchet music. I'm not gonna lie, I was 16, 17, and don't get me wrong, I know y'all just said Boosie just got out of jail. I was on Boosie. I was on Plies. I was on, who else was on? Yeah, Plies, baby. I was on I was on all of that. And I just knew I was doing something. But in all actuality, that music was garbage. It was like, it wasn't any good. It was majority about sex, or you doing drugs, or or you selling drugs. And I was like, Ashley, you're not really about none of that. So why do you connect with this music? I don't know.
I mean, the thing about it, they sing about sex and drugs and everything else because that's what sells for them. Mm-hmm. And they're going to give the people what they think the people want. And if we keep, buying the records and downloading it off of iTunes and all this other stuff, then they're going to be like, okay, well, we see they like this song. Okay, let me go ahead and start writing a new song talk about the same stuff, but in another way.
So do you think it's really the producers, the people that are marketing these artists, or, I think somebody said it once that they look and see what's popular, and then all the other artists that are similar in the genre, they hop on that because that's what's popular or what's said to be popular by the producers. Well,
I think it's a bit of mainstream mania, in that sense, because there's been plenty of artists that come out, when they release their biography or whatever like that, and they talk about how when they first get approached by the record company, they have this image, they have this type of music that they want to do, but the record company often says, no, we want you to sing this. And they're like, okay, well, now I have a decision to make. I can either sell out or I can keep going and do my own music. And once they hone in on this is what's popular, then of course that's when you have everybody following suit because they think this is what's going to sell. And don't get me wrong, it does sell for that season. But there are certain things that it's like, okay, well, this is over and done with. Like, I don't understand how I can turn to 3 different radio stations and hear the same exact song. Kudos to it if it's being popular. Nothing against the artist. Or on top of that, I turn to a different radio station, hear the same exact beat, just a different artist with different words, but it's not a remix. It's a completely different song, but it's the same beat. Prime example, Rihanna, throw it up, watch it all fall off. Doesn't that sound a lot like Bands Will Make Her Dance? But doesn't it sound a lot? I was just like, y'all wasn't really reaching for creativity on this one because y'all gave her the exact same beat and okay. I didn't really get it. I didn't get it.
If you really think about it, I was watching a biography or, about her or whatever. It was on the TV. And she was explaining how when she was younger, 17, joining into the music industry.
Who is this, Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Okay.
Rihanna. When she was 17, joining into the music industry, she was singing, the Pond the Replay type of music and stuff like that, from her, country and stuff like that, reggae and everything else. But they were basically telling her, okay, this is gonna be hot for a minute because nobody else is doing this. But okay, now it's time for you to change your look, change everything about them. The music and producers and everything else, they are changing the artists. So I feel like what we see is not what we get.
But it's been like that for ages because it's not even talking about now. I'm talking about we can go back to Temptations. We can go back to the group with Diana Ross. I can't remember the names right now. But we can go back to all of those great artists and even further back where when they get signed to a major record label and they say, okay, well, you two are good, but you two aren't, so y'all are out. And it's like, well, we all started the group. But you're not gonna take us off. No. Or it's like, well, this is good, but we need you guys to look like this. And that often happens, and it's been happening. And I mean, it's like these are the people making decisions. These are the people that are saying this is what the people want to hear. Because if there's ever an outcry for something different, it's like they jump on that something different, then they beat it like a dead horse. And it's like, okay, we've gone as far as we can go with this. Can we do something else? Okay, but that's enough about secular music because I'm telling you, we can talk about this all night. But we're going to move on to gospel music. And first and foremost, I just want to put out there that even though I'm a Christian, I do listen to secular music. I love artists like Jill Scott, Anthony Hamilton, Music Soul Child. I listen to a lot of different other things like Fall Out Boy. I don't know if y'all remember that band, but Fall Out Boy, Good Charlotte, a lot of things like that. I even listen to older stuff like Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra. So the thing is, I don't want it to come off that just because I'm young and I'm saved that I only listen to gospel music or I only listen to Christian music. Yes, I am conscious of what I listen to, but at the same time, I like music, period. And so don't be ashamed of that if you like different genres. I mean, that's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yes, there's nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to listening to, secular music in terms of as long as you're careful about it,
Right.
I guess, and you don't even if you do listen to the ratchet music or the clubbing music or whatever. I called it ratchet, but maybe that wasn't the right term. But if you listen to all that stuff, you just got to be careful and not to emulate what's being said in those songs because some of that stuff is negative. So am I really against it? Not necessarily, but you just got to be careful what you listen to. Just listen, just make sure you know what you're listening to, basically.
Of course. So when it comes to gospel music, the struggle that I see with gospel music is that oftentimes the message is the same. And of course you're like, yeah, the message is the same. The message is Jesus. Yes, the message is Jesus. But the thing is, how are we presenting Jesus? And I noticed that a lot of gospel songs, and I thank God for the songs about encouragement. I thank God for the songs about trusting God and knowing that he'll take your hurt and your pain away. Yes, because there are times in our lives that I need to hear I Trust You by James Fortune, or I need to hear, I Trust You by Tasha Cobbs, or Encourage Yourself by Donald Lawrence. But then when do we get to the point where, and this is just me just asking a general question, when we get to the songs about and we write lyrics about how God is to be exalted, how God is to be praised and worthy, when do we get to the relationship aspect as opposed to God, I need your help? And I'm not saying, please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we don't all need help, because we all do. But when do we get to those songs that we recognize who God is? Not just that he's our rescuer, but he's just wonderful. He's amazing. He's beautiful. As my daddy said one time, God is delicious. Like there's like when do we get to those songs? When do we get to that point where we realize that it's deeper than deep? It's past God come save me. When do we get to that?
I think it first starts with our relationship with God. If you have a relationship with God, then yes, it's easier for you to relate to what's being sung and, go into worship and praise and all the other things. But if you don't have that relationship, you could be that one person just, sitting there like, okay, when is this song over?
Right.
And, that's what I think it first starts off with, a relationship with God.
Right.
I think that it goes back to, how we were talking about what's popular versus what's not popular. And I can say this, I feel like the songs of encouragement at this point in this area of the century or whatever, it is popular to listen to encouragement, but I feel like that's a direct result of all the negativity that's going on in the world today as well. And people get hit with financial issues, people get hit with divorces and family issues, people dying. I mean, people die every day, but it's younger people dying. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of issues. So I feel like the reason why we hear so many songs of encouragement, even when I listen to the radio, the gospel station and everything, I hear a lot of songs of encouragement, but I feel like it's a direct result of the negativity that's going on right now.
And like I said, I'm not knocking those things, but one thing that I do notice is that that's why we have a lot of our age group turn to the worldly music, because there is no variety in gospel music, at least to us. And I'm not saying that that's not what's happening, because we do have artists like Tasha Cobbs, Shauna Wilson, Vashawn Mitchell, who are literally changing the face of gospel music. And it might be contemporary Christian, but if it's about Jesus, you spreading the good news, sound like gospel to me. That's just how I feel about it. But whatever,
I feel like there's people turn their cheek to, like, say we like rap and everything, but people turn their cheeks to gospel rap because they're merging something that had, I guess, quote unquote, a negative connotation to something that's supposed to have a positive connotation. So when we hear something that has a great beat but it's talking about Jesus, it's almost like there's a conflict. Am I really supposed to like this because it's rap? But I like this. I like it. But people think this way.
That's silly,
People
though.
think this way.
That's
And it's
silly.
like, oh, are we supposed to really like this music because it's rap? Or are we supposed to not like it because... we're not supposed to like it because it's rap, or are we supposed to like it because it's Christian and it's merging things that aren't being merged before? Are we really supposed to like this? And I feel like that's a conflict. So it's in order to make this easy, I guess they think, hey, either I'm going to be this way, go with the rap music, hip hop, R&B, or whatever, the secular, or I'm just going to go with the gospel. And they don't see a gray area. They don't see the in between lines for it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like it should not matter the way, like the
word is being...
the way that the word is being presented. If you want to rap it, or if you want to sing it, you want to, poetry, whatever. As long as you're getting the message out there, that's what matters.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not always about the beat. It's not, just because it has like a raunchy type beat does not mean that it's always going to have a bad...
Raunchy.
But that's what I'm saying. Some people are more... That's what I'm saying. Some people are more receptive to certain types of things. So why not merge Christianity and rap? Why not do it? If that's going to reach out to the youth better, I'm all for it. And I just don't understand why people are so negative towards it. I don't think it's a problem.
I think we get caught up in the tradition of what we think gospel music is supposed to sound like. I think we get caught up in, well, this is how I was raised and this is how I did it. We got the foot stomping, hand clapping generation. Praise God. Thank you for that. Because if it wasn't for y'all, we couldn't get to where we are now. But at the same time, don't hit on our music because it doesn't sound like y'all music. And I'll say that even to our generation, when the next generation comes after us and their music might sound different, we shouldn't hate on their music because that's what reaches them.
And they don't realize that this could be the very way it ministers to children. They're saying that there's not a lot of, or not necessarily children, but young adults. There's a lot of young adults turning away from the church. But if you will do stuff that they like or present God in the way that they would be able to receive it,
right,
maybe you will have more young Christians or young adult Christians. But if you just automatically shut them down and you wonder why they're not in church, I don't think that's a fair comment to make. I really don't feel like that's fair because you're automatically shutting down their viewpoint, their world, the way they see things. You're just saying that it's completely wrong, and that's not necessarily the case.
And that's why I appreciate artists like Ty Tribbett, y'all know there's a whole lot more of them that let's say James Fortune, Ty Tribbett, Tasha Cobbs, a whole bunch of them. There's a whole lot more.
Kurt Franklin started some
and
stuff
definitely, y'all know the church did not like Kurt Franklin.
Oh,
Y'all
yes.
know that.
But
Church was like, excuse me?
I know there were some issues with him or whatever, quote unquote issues, but I think he set the ball rolling. Hey, we can make this a different way. Yeah, why not put some talking into it? I think he started changing the face of Christian music.
Well, of course.
So,
he definitely had a hand in that. And and it's just, it just trips me out. Like when I'm listening to gospel radio, and I'm going to be completely honest, I don't listen to gospel radio stations. I listen to my Pandora radio station. That's what I listen to because I know if I plug in my Tasha Cobbs radio station on Pandora, I'm going to get music like Tasha Cobbs. I'm not going to hear Ty Tribbett, I got the victory. And then the next song, dum, 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 oh, happy day. I'm like, what the world?
No, honestly, Pandora be messing up sometimes. So they just want to try you and see if you'll like this.
I don't like this song. I don't like this song at all.
That's why they have the thumbs up or the thumbs down because they want to see. It's a music genome project and they want to just throw in and see.
I'd be like, no, not that one. No, thank you, Pandora. No, thank you, iHeartRadio.
Like, where did this come from?
I'm trying to tell you. I just feel that we as Christian, we got to be mindful. And I keep stressing that the word says, and they shall know them by their love. It's not by judging. It's not how holy we think you are, but it's how we love other people and love people who are different and love people who have different views and mindsets. And just because you and I don't agree on whether or not Jesus was black or white doesn't mean we can't both love him together. And we lose sight of those things. And it's just like, we got to be careful. I feel that we have to be careful because sometimes we can get so stuck in tradition, and next thing you know, we're losing people because if what they think doesn't fit our tradition, well, you can't come with us. What kind of Christianity is that?
That's crazy.
And I'm like, I don't know. And sometimes I wonder if, gospel music is really effective. Now, I know, like I said, we do have those encouragement songs. But like I said, I see my generation. I see what we listen to. I see how we act. I see how we carry ourselves. And the gospel music that is being played in certain, areas, it's like, y'all, we're missing it. That's really how I feel. I feel like we're missing it. And it's like, well, what are y'all gonna do? Because y'all are wondering why our youth are going to hell in a handbasket. But are we doing anything differently to market Christ to them? Are we doing anything differently to let them know, hey, Jesus can reach you on your level? And don't get me wrong, I understand that as we go through life, we're supposed to grow. Keyword is supposed to. We're supposed to mature. We're supposed to learn more about ourselves, and we're supposed to get older and all that good stuff. But and also that there is a time and a season for everything. So I mean, Courtney, what did you listen to when you were like 15, 16? What did you listen to?
I listened to everything else that everybody else was listening to. The crazy stuff, the secular music and stuff like that. But I mean, at that time, even though I believe around that time I was like just trying to enter in the church, or whatever. So I didn't really have that one-on-one type relationship with God or whatever. So it just led me to do what I wanted to do. And not only that, it was more of peer pressure. It was like, I want to fit in. I want to be like everybody else. When in reality, I should have been the type of person to stand out from the crowd.
Okay.
I don't want to be that girl who, she's not like us. Okay, she has no friends now because she doesn't like the same stuff.
And I understand that. And as a word of encouragement to you who are out there, both saved and unsaved, who are trying to live your life and stand out, stay encouraged. It is okay to be an individual because the rest of the world wants copies, but there's only one you. There's only one of you walking this earth, and if you leave, there will never be another you. So please be who you are, be encouraged, and don't be afraid of any of that, because don't get me wrong, it is hard to walk alone. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that it's going to be super easy to be by yourself or anything like that. No, but I will say is that God will send the right people in your life to help you walk out this journey, whether it be through your adolescence, through your young adulthood, on into adulthood. God will send you the right people that will be in your life, whether they be your mentors, your best friends, and things like that, teachers. So please be encouraged. Don't get caught up in the fact that I don't have any friends. I mean, and I can say personally that I've never really had a lot of friends. I was always that weird kid. I was always that weird kid that didn't, understand, like, okay, why are you doing this? That doesn't make sense to me. You're doing what now? Okay, whatever. But then, I was always pretty much alone. But as I got older, I thank God for that, because God kept me. He kept me, he kept me sanctioned off. He kept me set apart, and he kept me away from those things. And I'm thankful for all of that. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close on out. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in for today's show. We hope that we set off some good information. And please don't be afraid to be an individual. This is Ashley James signing off.